Hello everyone, my name is Jose Soto. I am a student at the Flatiron School and today I'll be showcasing my project, which is going to be an employee directory. Let's get VS Code open. Here's my JavaScript file, some CSS, HTML, and a db.json. First, let's speak about the JavaScript. We have the constants, the functions, followed by the fetch. Here we're rendering a new button on line 7. And we do have some callback functions within functions, which we'll discuss in a few. As I was saying here, we're creating a new button, we're adding a class to it, and then we're changing its inner text to the employee name. After that, we do have two event listeners on click, which calls back the display data function. What this does is that it displays the data to the browser. And we have a mouse over event listener, which changes the style color to orange for 5.5 seconds to then change it back to its original color. On line 22, we appended a new button to the employee info, which is a UL we created, and then we appended to an HTML header that we have going on right here. We'll get to that in a second. This function displays the data into the browser. What it does is that we created a new LI, we added a class name to it, and then we interpolated the different parts of the employee information that we want to display. Lastly, on line 31, we are appending the LI to employee display info, which we selected up here, employee display info. Okay, so now let's talk about the form. For the form, which is a submit event, we have the prevent default. This will prevent the page from reloading every time we do a submit. Then we're creating a new object from the form. So we get the event, we target, we get which part of the form we want to target, and then we get its value. So we're targeting the name, title, shift, and the schedule to then get each value to save it to the appropriate key. Here we're rendering the button for the new employee created. And then here we're adding the object to the JavaScript, meaning to the JSON file. This function here removes displayed information. It gets the event, targets it, and then removes it. This function display a mouse over. I was going to do the event listener here, but then I was running into some scope issues, so I decided to do it inside of the function where I created the button. Here we have our first fetch. What it does is that it goes to this URL, asks for the info, and then returns it as a JSON file, which we convert into a JavaScript. Then what we do is that we take that data, and then for each data, we're rendering a new button for each employee. What we're doing here is that we're sending a post, and the content type will be application.json, and then we're stringifying the object, meaning we're converting the object we created in the form right here, employee object, we're converting that into a string to be able to send it across the internet. Okay, now that we spoke about the JavaScript, let's take a look at the JSON file. Here we have the ID, name, title, shift, and the schedule for each employee. The HTML has a form, has some headers, p tags, and ULs, to which we appended the different nodes in the index.js file. Here we have the README. What it does is that it contains general notes of what the application does, instructions, and the resources used to create this page. Here is the CSS. I went for a simple look, added a background image, changed a few colors of different buttons using classes and IDs. And now let's get to running the application. The first thing we need to do is that we need to open the terminal. If you go to the README, you'll see the different steps that we got to conduct. For example, we need to start the server. We were on the line JSON server watch db.json to have the server started. Here's the URL and it's currently watching. I'm going to open a new terminal to open the file. Open index.html. And here we see our website. Now let me just move myself down here. What this does is that it has the form that we mentioned earlier. It has the different employees. And then here it displays the data. To be able to use it, you just gotta add the different name. Let's say my name, title lead, shift 1600, and then schedule, Sunday, Monday off. Once we fill out the form, we are able to submit it. As mentioned before, the form clears and we get the new employee down here. What we do is that we click on the employee to be able to see the data for each employee. And then we click on the data to delete it. We can add as many employees as we want. Title lead as well, shift, morning, and schedule every day. Okay, boom. As you can see, we're able to add multiple employees, and then we do have the event listener on mouse over, which changes the color for 5.5 seconds. Okay, this is my website. Hope you like it. If you have any questions, please let me know. Goodbye.